Pillars of Progress, and I'm Anne-Marie Ganes. Let's get to the headlines. New library facilities for students, improved relations with Italy, more opportunities on the horizon. And signed and sealed, 3 of our tertiary institutions have institutional accreditation. We'll tell you what that means. But first, a look at what will be another learning resource for our students. This country has the distinction of being the only in the Caribbean region selected to have a science center. It was chosen by the U.S. State Department. This facility is yet another place of reference they can go to, and that includes a virtual library. The Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism sees it as an avenue that will expand the range of resources available to citizens.
Actually, that's incorrect. The general shape, probably yes or no.
It's all about making science fun. That's the aim of this Library Science Corner at NALIS. It is supposed to change the way our students approach science and technology. This highly interactive program is a joint initiative between NALIS and the U.S. Embassy, and it's the first of its kind in the region.
This is a regional-wide program in the whole Americas. There are 7 science centers, and Trinidad is the only one in the Caribbean selected to be the science center by the Washington State Department. The embassy was given $50,000 US dollars to buy books and computers and videos and many other materials, and as well as training. And in addition, Washington has an initiative called the Virtual Library, eLibrary USA, which is a virtual library. It's $1 million US dollar worth of publications.
The aim is to get students interested in science and technology at an early age. Children who participate will be exposed to games and lectures.
Gaming, I think, is going to be weekly, Friday from 3 to 5 or 6 p.m. every week. And the films will be also weekly in the children's library. And both children's library and the young adult section.
We will have guest speakers coming from the United States. Also a number of activities, science activities, very interactive sessions. Also included in the collection are board games.
The Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, Winston Gypsy Peters, says students will be able to open new doors.
The Ministry of the Arts and Multiculturalism, therefore, is pleased to be able to collaborate with the United States Embassy on this new initiative. The Science Corner is designed to offer students science-based resources which are not available in schools. This reference collection includes books, periodicals, DVDs, and electronic databases on a wide range of science topics, including energy, the environment, biodiversity, biotechnology, ecology, global warming, and Caribbean geology.
The project is in keeping with the state's mandate to ensure that all citizens are exposed to the best educational opportunities possible. The minister believes that this program will serve to touch the lives of many aspiring young scientists.
Through its network of libraries, NALIS provides a National Library and Information Service that is easily accessible to all members of the public and which facilitates cultural, economic, educational, political, and social development. NALIS is therefore ideally suited for this partnership with the U.S. Embassy, which seeks to expand the range of science resource available to our citizens.
Teachers and students who attended the launch were all excited about the activities provided through this activity corner.
It's extremely important for myself and my colleagues as educators to find relevant material. And it was really great to find out that they had information on current events, climate change.
Today was very interesting. I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know before, and it really made me think twice about being a forensic scientist.
Besides this project, there was another U.S. Embassy program that was also highlighted, the National Youth Science Camp Scholarship. This also encourages students to pursue scientific excellence. 3 students from Trinidad have been chosen to attend a science camp in the U.S. They have been given an opportunity to speak about their experience with those who attended the launch.
They will be representing Trinidad and Tobago at the camp, which is global, and they will be joined by students from the American students from our 50 states. So when the group is together at the camp, it will be the students, science students from all over the world and from all over the U.S. And then invited speakers are famous scientists from the U.S. and other countries. So there will be a whole range of science activities, and the people will get to meet each other, interact, and also try out different technologies.
The U.S. Embassy and the state are hoping that these programs will help shape the minds of those interested in pursuing this field.
I'm quite excited for this trip, and I love maths, I love physics, and consequently I have a passion for engineering. So I hope to be exposed to the different types of engineering, maybe some new advances in those fields, and maybe that might help me to choose what future career path I want to take.
Kamabala Boyk, 4 Pillars of Progress.
Staying with the education theme, in the tertiary sector, there's reason for celebration. The College of Science, Technology and Applied Arts of Trinidad and Tobago, COSTAT, the University of Trinidad and Tobago, UTT, and the University of the West Indies, UWI, have all been awarded the status of institutional accreditation. Put simply, this means they've passed the test for having the facilities, resources and management that will meet international standards. Lindian Mars reports.
I would really like to congratulate these 3 institutions, especially since they are the first 3 institutions to achieve accredited status, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but also in the Caribbean. And people might say, well, you know, the medical comparison, but these are parts of institutions that were accredited. This institutional accreditation is bestowed upon the entire institution, including all its schools and faculties.
What accreditation does is give credence to these institutions. Being accredited also brings respect to local institutions at a global level.
These achievements demonstrate that not only our institutions of higher learning can match the quality expected of higher education institutions around the world, but that the accreditation status will ensure international recognition of our graduates as they seek further opportunities in a globalized economy.
Students are assured of quality tuition that is always relevant and at par with global standards.
Attaining institutional accreditation status signifies that the institution's facilities, resources, and quality management system, and I want to stress quality management system, are on par with or has surpassed the minimum internationally accepted standards.
The process is rigorous, but the end result is that everyone benefits.
The ACTT stamp of approval, which our institutions have earned, is in support of the government's framework for sustainable development, a primary one being their role in aiding the government in its quest to achieve a 60% participation rate within the post-secondary sector by building confidence in our institutions within the public domain. While we recognize our achievements, I implore you to continue to improve our higher education sector and to rival its leaders. These are some of the things we must keep in mind if we are to improve and excel and go beyond. We must more effectively develop our teaching and research agenda in line with our economic goals and alignment with the demands of employers.
These changes ensure the improvement of quality of education offered.
Access to programs and scholarships becoming more readily facilitated. The transfer of students and credits between institutions regionally and internationally is made easier. Student performance is enhanced as a result of quality programs. Graduates from accredited institutions qualify more readily for selected jobs.
UWI, UTT and COSTA today signed the General Conditions of Institutional Accreditation, which will be valid for 7 years, due to it being their first time receiving accreditation. Lindy and Mars for Pillars of Progress.
We're staying a while longer with education. Now, yesterday we gave you a first-hand look at the Bonaire West Center. This time to share with you the opening of 2 early childhood centers along the east-west corridor. Here's a look at the new facilities.
Uh, 2015 is set for universal primary education, but rather we've already has that, we've already surpassed that goal. We're going further with our policy that I took when I was sitting in your chair, Minister, for universal secondary education, not a child can get to that. So now we are way ahead of the MDGs. What we're working for is universal preschool education. So we don't have that yet. It is not even an MDG goal yet, because they're still trying to catch up in the rest of the world with respect to primary education, secondary education. Studies find that children who have attended kindergartens, preschools, are less likely to have socially disruptive behavior later on. Investing in early childhood care and education yields the highest economic returns, as I said before, can break the cycle of poverty. Early learning and formation of good habits and social skills are far more productive than later on when you want to remedial education and training. So my government's goal is to develop a harmonious society, to improve the competitiveness of its future workforce in order to move towards a high-income, developed society and country that will be more effectively served when we invest in these preschools, early childhood care and education. For too long in our country, tuition fees and insufficient kindergartens, especially in rural areas, have resulted in a barrier to access for many children in our country. Promise of a better nation, the pathway of sustained human and economic development, and of course, a better legacy of equality, equity and justice for children. With this will also come the creation of the jobs, because as we go for universal preschool education, we will need the caregivers in the schools. Minister has mentioned my mandate that together with the Ministry of Tertiary Education, we will have to train 3,000 persons to be able to service all these kindergartens, preschools throughout the country.
We're taking a break, but coming up, the Italian link. Details are on the other side.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. Here are the files you requested.
Thank you, Emily. I heard there's a tax amnesty at the Inland Revenue and we need to catch up with the company's outstanding taxes.
You're right. But I've noticed we didn't file corporation tax returns, nor did we pay business levy, green fund levy, and corporation tax for the past 5 years.
Yeah, I know, but I will have this sorted out soon. When is the deadline?
The amnesty ends May 31st.
May 31st. Okay.
So, that gives us an opportunity to file the company's tax returns now and pay all outstanding taxes to avoid penalties and interest.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's good to see an employee who takes interest in her work.
I'm just doing my job, sir.
The Board of Inland Revenue advises that an amnesty is in effect from September 8, 2010 to May 31, 2011. Be wise. Take advantage of this opportunity. Inland Revenue Division, changing the way we interact with you.
Come to our beaches. We're looking out for you.
Communities across the country, people are calling Nalis Libraries their library. Tell me, why is Nalis your library?
My library is where I can have fun learning.
My library is helping me earn better grades with online research resources.
My library is my gateway to the world of information.
My library is providing access to the differently abled. As a visually impaired person, I can envision limitless possibilities.
My library is making my world truly worldwide with free internet access.
My library is helping me keep an eye on my health with access to the virtual health library via the Nalis website.
Nalis is my library.
Welcome back, and this is Pillars of Progress. This will be a place that allows the archiving, preserving and showcasing of the sugar industry. In the words of the Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the Sugar Heritage Village and Museum is long overdue. The facility is located at Sevilla Compound, Brechin Castle in Couva. Sherilyn Lewis was there for the opening and she tells us more.
Suno bacche. Was in 1845.
The sugar industry is a significant part of this country's history, but for a number of reasons, there's no formal place where one can reference artifacts, landscapes, or anything of archival significance. For this reason, the Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is heartened by the opening of the Sugar Heritage Village and Museum. She says it's an initiative her government is committed to. The opening of the Sugar Heritage Village and Museum marks a significant day in the lives of all former sugarcane laborers.
Long overdue project, this Sugar Heritage Village and Museum project, which indeed my cabinet approved to be undertaken. I know Dr. Samaru had been working on this project before, but he was more lobbying on a personal basis. This project is now officially a project of the cabinet and government and the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. It is our intention of our government that this will be a joint collaborative effort led by the Ministry of Tourism, including Caroline 1975 Limited, Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism, University of Trinidad and Tobago, NGC, UWI, European Union, amongst others. And so the realm of historic preservation, or what is known as heritage conservation, and this is globally known as an endeavor which seeks to preserve, which seeks to conserve and protect buildings, objects, landscapes, or other artifacts of historic significance. This project seeks to salvage the buildings once used as a home for the nation's most powerful founding industries, that of the sugar industry. Buildings once used as a bustling administrative nucleus of the sugar industry.
Mrs. Prasad Bisesa blames the last administration for the end of the historic sugarcane industry. Currently, in 1975, an enterprise that depended largely on sugarcane was shut down by the last government. Many felt it was the final straw that killed the sugar industry in this country and put many on the breadline.
The closure of the industry saw the end of a very long historic era of sugarcane cultivation in Trinidad. It also saw the fracturing of the social and economic sugar culture that was proudly entrenched in the lives of so many of our citizens. I'm very happy to see that we have been in the process of distributing lands.
Minister of Tourism Dr. Rupert Griffith says the construction of this museum will create employment.
Prospects remain bright for the tourism sector of Trinidad and Tobago. The sector continues to represent a key source of jobs, prosperity, and competitiveness. The tourist potential of this sugar heritage village and museum is phenomenal, and it ensures that our sugar story is told to more people for many years to come.
The sugar industry in Trinidad dates back to the 18th century with the plantation system of production. Different types of labor were experimented with, what saw work on the plantations being undertaken firstly by the Amerindians, Europeans, Africans, Chinese and Indians.
The headline says, emancipation is over.
Sherilyn Lewis for Pillars of Progress.
It's a natural match because of Trinidad and Tobago's culture and strong Catholic influence. This country is forging deeper ties with Italy. This as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Surijratan Rambachan, today received the new Italian ambassador accredited to this country. For the details, let's join John Victor.
The two countries have enjoyed 47 unbroken years of diplomatic relations, and according to the Foreign Affairs Minister, those ties are set to deepen with the appointment of the new envoy based in Caracas. In fact, the Italian Republic was one of the first countries with which a newly independent Trinidad and Tobago established diplomatic ties on January 3, 1964.
And that might have had to do also with the fact of the presence of the Vatican and the relationship between, our Catholic population and, the Catholic faith and the Pope. So that's very important. In a similar fashion, we established, as you know, relationships with India and relationships with Pakistan and relationships with Nigeria and relationships with South Africa. And now we have relationships with Uganda. So there's always been a tendency to establish relationships with countries where there's some kind of affinity and some kind of common identification, whether it be culture, whether it be religion, or whether it be the source from which people came. And that is very interesting.
Italian organizations have also been involved in local companies, such as the Atlantic LNG and the management of the Arnos Vale Hotel, and more recently in air transportation.
In 2010, Caribbean Airlines and the Italian-French company ATR signed the contract for the purchase of 9 regional airplanes. And I believe those are going to be delivered sometime later this year. So it's very important to have an accredited ambassador when you have this level of economic activity and exchange taking place, or where you have, cultural affinity or religious affinity. It's very, very important to have this. The presence of an honorary consul where the ambassador is not here is also very significant.
There has been an imbalance in trade activity, however, heavily weighted in Italy's favor, something the minister says the government is seeking to change, as over 40 new service areas have been opened up for trade under the EPA, which includes Italy. There is also a thorny issue of the Schengen visa requirement, which the new Italian envoy assured is receiving attention.
So I lobbied him again this morning, like I've been lobbying every single EU country in this regard. I was recently told that by the end of the year, this matter should be concluded and that we should have the Schengen visa. Trinidad and Tobago was one of the first countries in the world to really monetize gas. And, we still have the largest methanol plant.
This is part of a sector that contributes more than 50% to this country's GDP. So important it is, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Stephen Cadiz, says it's crucial to the enjoyment of the quality of life experienced in Trinidad and Tobago. It's the real estate sector, and Minister Stephen Cadiz says it's fundamental to the development of the country.
What is the link between this and development of the country's economy? Well, according to the Ministry of Trade and Industry, what happens in the real estate market contributes to people's perception of this country.
It is crucial, it is very, very important that people actually have a good experience for their tenure in Trinidad, whether it's 3 years or 5 years, whatever their contract period is. And when you think of it, and if you take other countries in the world, we do have that here.
But he's not leaving this to chance. He says he understands this could only happen with good housing and good neighborhoods.
There is going to be quite substantial development works going on, be it in infrastructure. We have industrial parks that are going to be opened within the next 5 years. We have close to 500 acres of new industrial parks throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
The real estate industry falls under the broad category of the services sector, which accounts for 50% of the GDP. Numbers the ministry takes seriously and wants to ensure will continue to grow. As Minister Cadiz sees it, in the scheme of the business sector, this industry is important to stimulating the economy.
We are currently developing a national services strategy which will drive the development of this sector.
At the end of the day, this is part of a wider plan to diversify the economy away from its dependency on oil and gas. Gregory Reyes for Pillars of Progress.
And looking ahead, the Prime Minister and her cabinet journey to Tobago tomorrow. But the highlight of that trip will be the renaming of the Crown Point International Airport. It will be renamed to honor a Tobago son of the soil and former President A.N.R. Robinson. But that's not all. Ensuring that the sister isle isn't left out in any sphere, the Prime Minister will also be on hand for the presentation of PTSC buses and the unveiling of the ceremonial plaque of the Metal Industries Commission building in Canaan. And that's all we have time for. I'm Anne-Marie Ganes, inviting you to join me again as we continue our look at the government's work. Do remember you can see repeats of today's program every day on TV6 at 11:40 a.m., on CNC3 at 11:30 and 102 on CNMG. This has been Pillars of Progress, a look at the work our government is doing as it implements the development plans for the nation. On behalf of all of us at the Government Information Services Limited, goodbye.